I'm Rabia Munga, a customer success team from Meritto, and I've been a part of the organizations in the past 4 years now. And I'm really looking forward to a great, insightful discussion with all of you. But before we move ahead, I would request each of our panelists to quickly introduce themselves to the audience, please.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harsh. I represent Pratham Test Prep. We are North India's largest UG undergraduate test prep company. We are a 14-year-old firm, and our parent company is called IFIM, where we done a lot of Olympiads across schools in India. So this is me, and thanks for having me here.
Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone, my name is Dharmesh and I am CEO at Geeks for Geeks Courses, where we do provide technical courses to individuals and institutions and enable them to get the market job opportunities and enhance their skill set. We have been in the industry for last 10 to 15 years. Initially, we started as a blogging site, and for last 4 to 5 years, we have started courses in that domain. So that's all about me and my organization. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Kanchi, and I lead admissions and outreach at Flagship University, one of the youngest universities in India. But we've made a lot of impact, I think, already. My journey in the education industry has been about a decade long, and I've represented some of the new age universities here in India. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Gaurav. I manage Founders Office at PhysicsWala, which is Bharat's largest edtech company at the moment. And along with that, I manage new business initiatives also. Thank you for me having as a panel here. We'll have a lot more discussion on enrollments and how PhysicsWala is doing. Pretty much we are everywhere at the moment and would love to grow as a synonym to education by 2030.
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन मेरा नाम शिवम है मैं एक एटेक एंटरप्रेन्योर हूँ पिछले 8 सालों से कंपनी रन कर रहा हूँ द नेम इज स्किल सर्कल वी आर इनटू स्किलिंग एंड अपस्किलिंग primarily dealing into data science digital marketing and UI UX courses and we have trained more than 50,000 students so far in the last 8 years we are more than into hybrid trainings हम ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन दोनों पढ़ाते हैं प्राइमरली हमारा नॉर्थ इंडिया में काफ़ी ऑपरेशंस है इंक्लूडिंग लखनऊ चंडीगढ़ नाउ एक्सपैंडिंग टू मुंबई पुणे दिल्ली NCR and now expanding to more locations so look forward to the panel discussion I'm so excited.
Thank you so much, everyone. So as we can see today in our panel discussion, we have a variety of different industry experts from their respective domains. And today we'll be discussing about the insights and best practices that each of you have been following to ensure that how the students' data, which you keep on inquiring, right, how we can ensure to get the maximum conversions and maximum enrollments out of the same. So I would like to start with you, Kanchi ma'am, if you can throw some light on the fact what kind of student outreach activities have been most effective for you, either in terms of offline or online, and has contributed significantly to the enrollments.
Hi. So, Rabia, you do know that I have represented very, very young universities. In fact, you know, I've been in the startup phase with all three, Ashoka, Kriya, and Plaksha. What really worked for us, and I know these two sound like, you know, contrary to each other, but one was personalized engagement and the other was leveraging technology. I think we needed to do both. A decade back when we were setting up Ashoka, I think what worked for us was the personalized engagement more. And now when we're at Plaksha, I think what's working is leveraging technology more. So however and whichever way we use both of these, they complement each other. So whether it's identifying your target audience, customizing your marketing strategies, or you know, building, like Sir in the earlier panel said, a seamless student experience, or you know, it's retention, retaining the very exceptional talent that you've chosen to come to your university. For all four of these, engagement, which is very personalized, and with the help of technology, I think we are able to do really good work.
Thank you, ma'am. So throwing some further light onto the same, what we're also interested to know from you is the marketing mix that we have in place, right? So, for example, probably, Gaurav sir, you can probably throw some highlight with respect to the outreach activities that you have been doing, and how do you track the effectiveness of those campaigns at your end as well?
See, for PhysicsWala, it has been a different journey altogether because PhysicsWala has been built on a personal brand first and then moved to as an education company. So if like many people ask us like how old Physics Wala is or PW is, so like many people think it's just 3 years old, but we know it's like 7 years old because Alak sir was on YouTube channel since 2016, and that 4 years of the free content that he has put on on YouTube, so that has leveraged a lot of or gained a lot of popularity among the students. And as soon as app got launched, so when app got launched, the first day we got like 70,000 downloads, and within 3 days app got crashed because there was like 3 lakhs download on the app, and like our servers were not able to manage. So the marketing mix has been probably I would say we had got a very good distribution channel over the YouTube. So we have leveraged the power of YouTube and the power of like you say free content that we have been giving to the students. Today also, even after we have paid batches on our app, we continue to deliver the free courses on YouTube, so that student remain engaged with us, remain in contact with us. So if I would say, and when we have started our offline centers also, Vidyapeeth. So like most of the Vidyapeeth centers that we have at the moment are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So when we analyze the data, like as ma'am said, we with the use of technology also, we try to analyze like where this most of the students are coming in. And when we launched Vidyapeeth, so the enrollments of the Vidyapeeth, we didn't took it offline. All the enrollments, we moved it online. Right, so NPF team came to us in Kota January 2020, like when we launched Vidyapeeth, and has set up that entire QR structure, QR engagement structure with the students tracking down their journey. So when we launched our offline channel, we leverage the distribution channel that we already had over the YouTube and as well as on the app. So we took direct registration of the students as a seat confirmation on the app itself, rather than waiting for the students to coming down to our office or to coming down to our admission booth and getting the admission done. So I would say like because in tier 2, tier 3 cities, we have also leveraged the BTL activities like mostly. So using the QR codes has been the best practice that we have seen. Like when we have thrown those flyers and those brochures to different houses and all of that, we could able to leverage the student who was sitting at their home, because our intent was to make PW a homegrown brand. Like every home should know, like now there's a Vidyapeeth, now there's a. So recently we have also started a school in Gurgaon. So it's PW Gurukulam. So idea is also the same. So now we are also doing a lot of BTL activities and leveraging our distribution channel, which has already been built since a long time. And to the new brands also, I was also talking to Shivam, the same thing. So as much as sometimes we spend on performance digital marketing, right? At the same time, people should also think, or like new startups should also think how to leverage the same budget that you are assigning to performance marketing. Maybe you will not get like immediate results, but if you continue to focus on building the personal brand around the people who are running that brand, maybe they would be more infectious, or they would be more contagious in driving the enrollment to you, rather than you are just. And as Shams are also very rightly mentioned, at PW, student plays a very bigger role. So whenever we are launching something new, we throw polls, right, to engage student or to engage the audience, to suggest us the batch name, to suggest us the new like venture that we are getting into. So that keeps on giving the hint to the people, to the students, that there's something new coming up. So I'm not sure if sometime you get some time, you can see our YouTube channel. So whatever like new launches or new courses, new ventures that we are launching, we launch it through YouTube channel, because it's a huge distribution. So we have got 40 millions of student base on our YouTube channel, and that's a huge distribution for us. And along with that, leveraging on technology and obviously the CRM that we are using from you. One more thing I would like to mention here about how we are effectively using it. So our app is directly connected with the NPF CRM. So as soon as any students download the app, their data goes to our CRM. And we wait for the student for 5 days if they have purchased the batch or not. And then we transfer those leads to our counseling team. And then our counseling team take a follow-up with the student that if you have came to the app, are you following any challenges in buying a batch or not? So that's how we leverage the data that we have collected through our app, through our distribution channel, and properly assigning it to our sales team. Like there's no sales team as such. This counseling team is like to support the team, support the student in a way that if they are facing some challenges, how we can solve those challenges. So that also helps in increasing our sales in some or the other way.
Right. So, sir, as you mentioned, for PW, there's a different kind of strategy that you use, right? It's an edtech vertical, so of course, the strategy is very varied from how probably Pratham would be handling, probably what higher ed universities and colleges would be handling, and what courses, programs are being taken up for. So, with respect to that, I think when we talk about higher ed, also as Kanchi ma'am was also addressing the fact that person engagement, leveraging the technology, amalgamation of offline and online campaigns both, right? It's not just the only digital era is there. Of course, we do go out for certain events, and all these kind of eventful activities are already happening in the industry. You have also been making use of the QR codes very effectively. So on similar lines, probably Harsha, if you can highlight what Pratham has been using in terms of the campaigns and outreach activities.
Sure, I wanted to actually add what my friend from Physics Wala said. For us, it's exactly the opposite. Since we started in the era where social media was not that prominent, majority of our business still happens from BTL activities. So we work very closely with almost all the leading schools of the country. I'm saying country, though we are a North India-based company, but we perhaps working with all premium schools of across the length and breadth of our country. Also, the route that we've taken or the position that we want to take in the market is we can't call ourselves as career counselors and not UG aptitude test prep company. So when we go to a school, we counsel student even for an IIT, even if you're not preparing for it. And that's the sort of image that we're trying to create. We've gone to the extent that now where schools invite us to do, training of teachers on stress management, how to handle the, students post-COVID era and stuff like that. So that's the position we have taken. However, I agree this is it's a social world today, social media world today. I was writing on the my Facebook status the other day that then human is now from a social animal, it has become a social media animal. So we cannot avoid that, but yes, for us it's BTL which plays a major role. Yeah.
Right. So, Dharmesh sir, probably for you also, if you can throw some light in terms of how you have been tracking the effectiveness of the campaigns that you have been running. I'm sure there would be some different strategies you also would have in place. But the most important thing is once we have run those strategies, how are we tracking the response? How are we tracking the conversion rates out of the same? So what strategy do you have in place for that?
Sure. We also use the blend of offline and online marketing. And there are such certain aspect of businesses like for B2B business or for offline coaching businesses, you have to have a certain aspect of offline marketing also. And for the other part where we sell courses online, there we majorly rely on the campaigns that we do through performance marketing. As I mentioned earlier, we started as a blogging site. So we have quite fair, decent traffic on our blogging site that also act as a source for us to showcase our courses that we are running. To measure the effectiveness of a campaign, certainly whenever we are launching a campaign, we have to define the objectives and KPIs that we expect from that particular campaign. And to measure those particular things, you need to have your tech enabled. There have to conversion integration in your CRMs, so you can measure if you are running tens of campaign on different social media site. Suppose you are running same campaign on Instagram, same campaign on YouTube, same on Facebook. This might also happen that same campaign is performing in one channel but not performing in other channel. So if you have your conversion strategies in place, you are tracking data properly in your CRMs, you are measuring and generating reports, then you can easily decide on the things and you can fairly allocate your budget accordingly and maximize whatever the money you are putting in.
Right, sir. So just taking cue from the same, now since we talked about how we acquire data, I think it's also important to understand what do we do with that data and how do we do it, right? So, Shivam, so probably I would like to ask from you, like for example, there are multiple touch points we capture right from the time the first engagement happens till the time a final enrollment or a final conversion happens, right? In the entire journey, there are multiple touch points. So how do we ensure that a potential opportunity is not missed? Or probably what would be the early indicators of a potential enrollment from your end?
Perfect. Thank you for asking this question. But before that, I just want to put a point for the previous question, right? So the user engagement, or I should say how we actually reach out to our customers who actually want to become a student at Skill Circle. It's very interesting for us because I myself is a teacher, right? I started as a teaching in 2014, started with just, teaching 4 kids. Then we eventually, grew up and we become an organization. We started hiring people. We have a counseling team now. We have around 200 employees. But what's the learning I've got is just observe the trends, how millennials or Gen Z are spending time. For us, if we say, we generating, let's say 15,000 leads on the CRM every month, 60% coming from Instagram. That's very interesting data actually, right? There's so many platforms, but we are relying on Instagram. Why Instagram? Because it's working for us. How we do it working for us? We track through CRM. As you mentioned, right? Each bit of lead coming to us, either through YouTube, either through Google search campaigns, either through display campaigns, either through email marketing campaigns, either through any damn campaigns. We track it very heavily. We have a very good dedicated CRM team. हम रोज ट्रैक करते हैं. इनफैक्ट रात को बैठकर 11 बजे देखते हैं कि कौन सा सोर्स हमारा कन्वर्ट कर रहा है. बिकॉज स्पेशली व्हेन यू स्पेंडिंग मनी, हम ऑफलाइन मार्केटिंग नहीं करते. दैट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. Pratham sir said that they are very good in BTL activities. Geek for Geeks, they are saying they're very good organic. 5 million? 5 million organic traffic. That's huge. We are not privileged to have that, right? When we are not privileged, हम tracking में बहुत काम करते हैं कि अगर हम ऑनलाइन मार्केटिंग में let's say 50 लाख रुपए डाल रहे हैं महीने का, हमें पता कि कौन सी चीज काम कर रही है और कौन सी नहीं. एंड थैंक्स टू मेरिटो CRM, राइट? वहाँ पे बहुत सारे फीचर्स काम आते हैं. एंड रोज रात को 11 बजे मीटिंग होती है जहाँ पे हम ट्रैक करते हैं कौन सा कैंपेन चल रहा है, कौन सा UTM चल रहा है, कहाँ से ऑप्टिमाइजेशन बेटर है, और उन कैंपेन्स को हम स्केल करते हैं. द आइडिया इज नॉट जस्ट रन अ कैंपेन, आइडिया इज ऑप्टिमाइज इट. बिकॉज एक एड कॉपी चलाकर आप लीड ला सकते हो, बट वो सेम एड कॉपी 10 और कंपनीज चला रही हैं. तो आइडिया इज रन नाइस एड कॉपीज विच आर वेरी डिफरेंट फॉर द मार्केट. सेकेंड, ऑप्टिमाइज द कैंपेन्स. दिस इज वर्किंग फॉर अस.
Great. So in addition to that, if you can also tell us, like, I'm sure you are very, very effectively using the campaign dashboard also of the platform to understand which campaign is performing, which particular UTM is performing well for you or not, and how you can fine tune that particular campaign probably for the upcoming cycle as well. Now, probably, Kanchana, if you can highlight some this thought that how can we ensure an opportunity is not missed? Like, there are multiple data points that we capture, just extension of the previous question only. So what is something that you ensure in your teams probably? Probably it could be the calling teams, it could be the counseling teams. How do they ensure that the respective data points which are being captured in the platform, how are they utilizing it, and how are they ensuring the right candidate is being engaged at the right time?
Absolutely. So Rabia, I think our journey, our customer journey, as you would put it, is very different from everyone's over here because while we are capturing data in very similar ways that you are, from the websites, from the social media, from our campaigns, from ads, all that data, when it comes in, we have to do a quality check on it. Because we know that somewhere down the line, we are going to send out rejections, right? So because we are such a selective university. So we cannot be an organization which pushes people to submit their applications very, very bullishly, but because we know that we are going to be selective later. So what the Meritto platform has allowed us to do is, one, capture data consistently across different sources to be able to map them, and then to be able to use those parameters to understand what is the quality of this lead. So that quality of the lead is what defines what kind of engagement we are going to have, whether this person is going to get a call, whether this person is going to get an online invite. And no, it just doesn't end at the outreach level. It's also the selection process. And I'm picking up from what the earlier panel spoke about seamless student experience. So whether it's fixing an appointment with us through the platform, whether it's getting an invite for the interview, whether it's the student dashboard, which is so dynamic. It's got everything on it. It's got The student, if he wishes to come for the campus tour, he can book it there. If he wants to download the brochure, it's right there. How much scholarship I've got, how much, what's my offer status, are my documents verified? So all that has, in a way, and that's why I said these are complementary, the tech and the personalization, because NPF as Meritto has been able to customize it for us so that every student feels that I'm being supported in my journey and that this is personal to me, that I have a complete, support and guidance system coming in from which seems very personalized, but we know that at the back end, it's the same experience even if we have 25,000 applications. So, really kudos to your team for having allowed us to be able to do that level of personalization and customization because that's required. And at every stage, there's going to be a leakage in the funnel and we know what kind of interventions we'll have to do genuinely for the very quality students that we want to attract.
Thank you, ma'am. So then, Meritto, probably if you can also let us know, the kind of courses that you offer to the candidates, right? How does your team ensure that those data points are addressed and you are getting the maximum out of the same? Because I'm sure there would be certain framework your team would be following to ensure they're able to hit the targets that you have set up for themselves.
Sure. So once we receive a lead in CRM, since we are using our in-house CRM system, we tried a couple of systems, but that didn't work well for us. Since morning, I'm listening too much appreciation for Meritto, so we will be trying that for sure in future. So once a lead comes to our CRM, we try to categorize that lead based on certain characteristics or the action that lead is performing. So suppose someone is coming to your landing pages 10 times versus and spending 5 to 10 minutes. And if you are able to track that particular data in your CRM, and then you qualify that lead, this candidate is too much interested. And if somebody has accidentally clicked on your campaign, just came and left, for that you mark that it as a cold lead. So based on that, we categorize data, and there are SLA amongst the team to which customer at what time we have to reach. There are certain automations in place. There is always a scope of improvement in your system, but currently we do follow this kind of system where we qualify lead, and then different team will have different set of SLAs that they have to meet, and the priority leads are definitely covered when you cover all the data. So that's how we manage it.
So Harsha, what has been your experience so far with respect to the same?
Very, very similar to my friends here. So we categorize data, number one, based on the courses they are interested in, since we prepare for various exams. Then the second categorization is actually the source of data. So if somebody has attended a counseling session with us in a school, that is dealt in a completely different way, because the student is already exposed to us, senior counselors. Now they can be converted much faster. So this particular data is assigned to a different set of, we have category of counselors within our team. These are perhaps go to the senior counselors. Whereas somebody perhaps who's written a diagnostic test for a CUET or for an IPM, I know which section he's weak or strong at. So perhaps if somebody is good in quantitative aptitude, I may assign his data to my set of counselors who understand quant, because it's easy to convert student based on his strength. So if I can call him for a demo session on the subject he's good at, it's the reverse psychology actually. So we've categorized data based on, as I said, the source of data, number two, which stage they are in, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and stuff like that. And then a lot of training and retraining happens within the team, since we work with a large on-ground sales force, both at school and at our center level, to handle that data effectively.
Thank you, sir. Shivam, so what do you think, with respect to your teams that you have been handling at your end, and you've been using the Meritto platform since quite a long time now, and very effectively utilizing the same as well. So what do you think are some of the parameters that the team ensures, apart from the marketing strategy, that your team ensures is being looked into, and they're working upon it to ensure the conversions are also maximized?
The counseling team, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we divided into two parts, the pre-sales, the making sure in the qualified lead. We call it a lead qualified, not qualified, right? So if a lead is saying, oh yes, applied, then it's a qualified. That's a very simple thing, thumb rule, right? So we make sure, our counselor time is very important. End of the day, we are selling our time. We are a consulting company, training company, right? So our time is very important. We make sure my expensive counselor, which I mean, heavy salaries, they work on the very good quality leads. And for that, I give the qualified leads. That's the thumb rule we do, right? And the second very important, the internal CRM marketing. For example, each time the lead stage is changing, we do a different campaign. Like there is a attempting contact, there is contact success, there is counseling done, then there is a master class. We do, because we're into trainings which are more of a push training, it's not pull training. We are not doing a test preparation market. We do trainings like data science, digital marketing. These are skilling and upskilling. And ऐसे courses के लिए लोगों को aware करना पड़ता है, why should they do it? The moment we generate lead, our first question in the lead form is, why do you want to do this course, right? They give, oh, I want to get high salary, or maybe they want to get a first job, or they want to switch their job, or maybe just for upskilling. We should know why they want to do it. The moment they are, why they want to do it, we arrange a counseling session according to that. So we have a set parameters for the counselors कि उन्हें counseling किस तरीके से करनी है. And we invest heavily in sales training. हम हर महीने बहुत heavy sales training करते हैं to make sure मेरे जो sales counselors हैं उनकी काउंसलिंग बहुत अच्छे लेवल की हो. That's the one thing we learned. And second, the pre-sales team existence. मुझे ऐसा लगता है अगर आपके पास में 100 लीड आपके मेरिटो सॉफ्टवेयर में सीआरएम में है, 100 में से 40 कनेक्ट नहीं होती है, अटेम्प्टिंग कॉन्टैक्ट में होती है कहीं ना कहीं. वो लीड्स बहुत बड़ा सोर्स है जिससे हमारे कन्वर्जन रेट्स बढ़ सकते हैं. आप काउंसलिंग वालों को बार बार कॉल करोगे, कॉल नेगेटिव हो सकता है, लीड नेगेटिव हो सकती है. बट व्हाट अबाउट द अटेम्प्टिंग कॉन्टैक्ट? वहां पे बहुत अच्छे मार्केटिंग कैंपेन्स किए जा सकते हैं, कुछ एंगेजमेंट रीबटल्स किए जा सकते हैं, रीमार्केटिंग कैंपेन्स किए जा सकते हैं. तो हम कोशिश करते हैं उन लीड्स पे बहुत अच्छे से काम करें जो नॉर्मली नेग्लेक्ट की जाती हैं, ये बोलकर ये तो कोल्ड लीड है, डीएनपीज हैं और इससे तो कुछ कन्वर्जन नहीं आएगा. सो दैट्स द अवर मेजर जंग. हमें वहां पे प्रॉफिट दिखता है कि यहां से बहुत प्रॉफिट निकल सकता है.
Right. So as you also mentioned that the counseling teams, the calling teams who are the end users of the working upon the leads, right? It also tells about the effectiveness of your campaigns as well to a certain extent, because those are the people who are actually on the ground, or they are the ones who are daily interacting with the candidates, and they'll be able to give you an insight with respect to whether this particular lead has come from where, which particular source, and if a particular source has given you negative leads, like you mentioned, cold leads are higher for a particular source, right? It gives you an insight also on the kind of campaign that particular source has generated for you.
तो इसमें एक बहुत हमने थंब रूल लगाया. हमने क्या किया, हम एंड ऑफ द डे क्वालिफाइड लीड को काउंट करते हैं. बहुत बार क्या होता है, काउंसलर्स नेगेटिव फीडबैक देते हैं, बट एक्चुअल में जब हम सीआरएम में जाकर देखते हैं, इट्स नॉट नेगेटिव. अगर 10 में से एक नेगेटिव लीड भी आई, हम कैंपेन चेंज करना गलत रहेगा जब तक हम ये ना देखें वो क्वालिफाइड है या नहीं है. तो अगर हमने कैंपेन चलाया और हमने देखा कि 100 लीड आई और हमने देखा 100 में से लेट्स से 60 हमारी क्वालिफाइड है और काउंसलर नेगेटिव फीडबैक दे रहा है, इट्स अलार्म कि वो एक लीड के बेसिस के जजमेंट पे गलत फीडबैक दे रहा है. तो वी ऑलवेज यूज द सीआरएम रिपोर्ट, कैंपेन रिपोर्ट रेदर देन जस्ट द काउंसलर रिपोर्ट. तो हमारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि काउंसलर्स की भी सुने, उनको व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में हम बीच में लेते रहते हैं फीडबैक, रोज डेली फीडबैक आता है. ये पूछा जाता है कि लॉस्ट हुआ तो क्यों हुआ, वो 5 रीजन देते हैं. बट फिर हम सीआरएम पे जाके क्रॉस वैलिडेट करते हैं कि ऐसा क्या रीजन है कि जो हमें यहां नहीं दिख रहा. अगर हमें दिख रहा होता है तो हम कैंपेन ऑफ करते हैं, और हमें लगता है नहीं सीआरएम के हिसाब से सब कुछ ओके है, देन टेक्नोलॉजी रोल्स अ प्ले. ह्यूमन से बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी वहां पे काम पे करती है.
And so
I just like to add to this, my experience with some of the online campaigns is you don't get straight leads. Okay, so if I'm running a campaign, say for a IPM test prep program, a student may still be a class 12th, can still be a prospect student if he's counseled or probed properly. So we ensure that such campaigns, we assign leads to our senior counselors who can perhaps probe them, guide them further in detail, and still see if we can convert. So that's very important. As my friend said, you cannot, based on a couple of feedback, you cannot stop or start the campaign. So I think a lot of time online leads, a lot of detailed counseling, probing to see if they can fit in any other, they can be converted under some other umbrella under your business.
even adding on to this pointer with respect to higher ed, because I have also been very closely working with the universities and colleges along with Kanchi ma'am, along with other partners as well. So when it comes to counseling, what we have noticed as a trend in higher ed also is that, for example, the calling teams or the counseling teams are there, and of course they have a high inflow of data coming up, right? But how do they understand which particular data set needs to be nurtured first? which particular data set needs to be prioritized first, right? Because there are multiple online campaigns coming up, there are multiple aggregators in the market also who pushes the leads, right? So for these data points, what we've noticed, I'm sure a lot of you would be able to relate as well. In the, there are certain things that either candidate is trying to reconnect or re-register on your particular campaign or not, whether he has been, what has been the previous feedback, right? What particular course he has applied for. So the whole point is that, of course, there are multiple parameters. There's lead scores, lead strengths, all of these engagement parameters are there, which can act as an early indicator, which can probably give you an insight into the potential enrollments also. And then, of course, the team can, dive deep into the funnel, because we have the top of the funnel, and now we have to ensure how we're going into the lower, taking out the maximum of the same. So, sir, you mentioned about, and ma'am also mentioned about a personal engagement, and you also mentioned the fact that we also have, based on the respective lead stage also, we have some automations in place. Now, adding on to the same, probably, Gaurav, so you can highlight something on this, that, we know it's a competitive market. Probably, of course, as an edtech vertical, considering PW as the base, how it has been expanding subsequently, but for other partners as well, what do you think, how a particular university or a particular organization can maintain, brand recall value for the candidates? Because in a fast-paced industry now, wherein a lot of competitors are coming up, for courses as well, we have multiple courses being launched up, we have multiple institutes being launched up, multiple programs being added up. So how do we ensure that the brand recall value is maintained, number one? And number two, how do we ensure that we are able to have a balanced approach in terms of communication with them?
I would add up to what Shivam has mentioned, and I would take a case study of recently we have ventured into study abroad vertical. So study abroad vertical has been the perfect example of like mentioning how CRM has been so helpful for us, and thank you to the team. Team is still helping us in building the CRM at the different level, because if I speak of a journey of a student when they want to go for a university like abroad, there are 7 steps and there are drops at each step. So from an example like coming as a lead to giving an IELTS exam, and then moving to from after the IELTS exam, waiting for the offer letter, then getting the admission letter, getting GIC done, and then finally getting the admission or deposit done. So there is a drop at each level. So we have also like stages. So at the first stage, it's MQL, which is market qualified lead. So whenever we do marketing, so to the marketing team, we have given the factors like, dude, we need these kind of leads. If as lead is not marketing qualified, we'll not consider it that you have done the marketing. So that target we have given to to the marketing team, that a lead, if there are 10 fields, at least 60% of the field should be filled. If that 16% of the field are not getting filled, we'll not consider it as a marketing qualified lead. Then it comes to sales qualified lead. So same sales qualified lead is almost 80% of the 90% of the data has been filled by the student, where the student have probably given the IELTS exam, TOEFL exam, or EPT exam, which is English proficiency test. So at each stage, it becomes very essential for us to understand that where the student is dropping and why, or if so student is dropping, right? So and adding up to like how we maintain the campaigns around it, as I'll agree to Shivam also. So whenever business is new, and obviously founder is taking care of the business directly, so you deep dive into the data or the numbers every day. But at the same time, it is also very essential, as soon as your team is growing, you pass on the same knowledge to them as well. Right, it's very essential when it comes to the CRM, because the way you have been driving it by yourself as a business head or as a founder or as a lead, so it's very essential when you are building the team, the next person or the next person to that person in the level 2, they should also get the same type of knowledge and the thought process that you run into your mind while you are building the campaigns. Because otherwise, if that knowledge is not getting transferred, it will always remain within you, and you will keep fighting with the team that why it's not happening the way it was happening earlier. So transferring the knowledge about the CRM and how you see the leads into the CRM, the conversion rate, you need to pass on that knowledge. So we often have this strategy of having meetings with the team, like to our immediate managers, and keep on giving them information that this is how we are changing the campaigns. So when we started marketing of study abroad, since Physics Wala has never been into this industry, and it has been an all new industry to us, like how we will be venturing into this. And obviously the student base, the current student base that we have at the moment at Physics Wala, and the students who take study abroad journey are very different. So when we started doing the campaign, so when we started getting the leads, essentially we also had a lot of challenges, like these leads are not market qualified, these leads are not SQL level. But the CRM and the data in the CRM has really helped us in analyzing that what kind of leads need to be generated. So for an example, earlier we were not taking IELTS qualified lead. So then we identified that our lead counselors are wasting a lot of time around those leads which are not even qualified. So why do I would be giving those leads to my senior counselors or the senior resources? Because it will eventually waste their time. So why don't we give them the more qualified leads to get the faster conversion? And like if I speak of the campaigns and recall of the brand, so PW Unico, which is the brand for the study abroad, is a very fresh brand and a new brand. And as I mentioned, like our students, like the student base, current student base, and the new student base that we are covering, catering to, they are a little different. So we do like once in a week, we do that SMS campaigning from within the CRM and the email. So we have also started doing email newsletter things for the student. And yes, we also do consider that it should not be that often also, like that student would start marking them into the spams or unsubscribe from the email. So once a week we do newsletter thing, and once a week we also do WhatsApp or the SMS campaigning to keep on recalling. Because as I mentioned, like, so for an example, our student who wants to take a student study abroad journey, right? The cycle is huge. It's 18 months journey. So student needs to be connected with you in some other way. So other than recalling, getting the brand recalled with them, there's no other chance. So we form a WhatsApp group with the student. So I'm also added in a lot of the WhatsApp groups where the student is there. So student, our lead counselor, the counselor who is connected with the student, and we are in that group. And once in a week, we nudge that student, like what's happening or what's not happening. So there are a lot of processes like getting the SOP built for the student. So it's a 18-month journey, and brand recall is very much important. So because the student can file their application to the university from anyone, not just PW Unico. They can go to any university directly website, and they can file their application directly also. But it's us who is handling them end to end and holding their hands in the entire journey. So it's very much essential for especially like in this case study, I would say the study abroad, I have seen that brand recall is very much important, so students stay connected with you.
Right, very well said, sir. In fact, you highlighted upon the marketing communication strategy that you have been following so far. Taking cue from the same, I think, Kanchi ma'am, if you can also highlight what kind of marketing communication strategy mix, probably what kind of channels and what kind of communication you ensure to send to the candidates in a balanced and a meaningful way.
So there are, like we all know that we're doing offline as well as online activities. When leads are coming from an online activity, those have a different journey. Whereas when we are meeting students in schools, when we have a very robust school outreach, we must be reaching out to 600, 700 schools per year. And whatever leads we are getting from there are already engaged leads. So we don't need to do, say, the initial first set of qualifying with them. So they are in our system. We know they are interested, definitely interested leads. They could or could not be HQHI. They could be the quality or not. But when we are getting leads from the online digital marketing, we don't know what the quality of the lead is. We've made the form quite extensive so that whoever does come in has some level of interest. It's not just ke autofill ho gaya and it got submitted. So we do get qualified leads, but we pre-qualify them even more. So the first level for an online lead would be a call to understand whether the student is generally interested in a BTech program, what kind of BTech programs, and so on and so forth. But whereas our interested leads which are coming from schools, while we are talking to them, we also talk to their parents and their counselors. Because for us, that is a more valid data, more valued data, because we know they are definitely already engaged with the brand, and they need a little less nudging, but there has to be a steady drumbeat of information going to them about the brand. So that could be mailers. Those are trigger mail. Sometimes they are something that we've built in, like a 15 mailer kind of a drip campaign, or it could be trigger mails telling them about our deadlines. But I think what's what's worked a lot is being able to manage the incoming queries. I think query management, if it's good, if it's timely, if it's relevant, I think that really helps in qualifying and converting leads. Another thing that I've seen is that to be able to categorizing is not really very easy for us. At a broad level, we could say anyone who's not started an application, category down, anyone starts an application has completed 80% of the application, high category, but it's really not that. We know that somebody from, say, a tier 2 would be more interested in knowing about financial aid. We know somebody from metros, very progressive school, would like to know about the study abroad student exchange program. So we even categorize at that level. And because we have so much student data, and at the end of the cycle, you will not believe I have a huge dossier for every student because we've mapped their journey and their data from the day one that we meet them, everything about them. We know more about them than maybe their school does or their parents do. So that entire dossier, to be able to see it at a click of a button when we are engaging with them, I think that makes the connection very, very meaningful.
I mean, it goes very simple for any enrollment team, which is conversion ratio, and conversion ratio at each level, right from leads to walk-ins to enrollments, and stuff like that. But another thing which I want to point out, which perhaps I don't do it on a daily basis, but it's always there in my mind, and I'm ensure I do it weekly at least, is how many people going to competition, because that gives the pulse of the market. You can judge any undercurrent which is there. It also helps you identify new need in the market. So for example, I was sharing with ma'am that a lot of students are coming for new age universities now, Palaksha, Ashoka, so on and so forth. So this is only once we keep tab on these on these parameters on a weekly basis that we could identify more opportunities for us.
I agree with Harsh. I mean, for enrollment purposes, you have to keep monitoring your lead generation matrices and conversion matrices. But as I mentioned earlier, most of our data comes from our blogging site, so number there also matters a lot to us. How overall traffic is there, what is the pattern of traffic, how the traffic changes. So that's one thing we constantly keep monitoring, so the lead generation part does not get affected too much. So
I'm just tracking 3 parameters. One is application submitted, offers being rolled out, and how many fee payments have come in.
At a broad PW level, the matrix that we see is little different because I've been working very closely with Alak sir. So I have seen what matrix that he usually tracks, and there's only one matrix that he tracks, it's NPS. So because we have got huge distribution over YouTube, so whenever there is something blown off in any of the vertical, it will directly come on YouTube or Instagram. So student will come and they'll just keep spamming our pages or our YouTube. So NPS matters us a lot, though numbers. So eventually what we have seen that revenue and enrollments are the byproduct of the services that you are delivering to the student. So NPS is one of the major metrics at PW that we track, and to all the verticals we focus on that.
Perfect. So NPS, yes, definitely, but you are privileged to have so good audience, right? तो आपको मेहनत शायद कम करनी पड़ती होगी, right? But as a founder who's bootstrap, हम और भी बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत करते हैं, तो वहाँ पे हमारा 3 metrics हैं जो daily basis पे देखनी पड़ती है. Number 1, qualified leads, very important. और qualified leads पे timely call हुआ है, कोई unattempting तो नहीं है, और अगर unattempting है तो क्यों है? That's very important. The second, the campaign ROS, because end of the day campaigns need to be payback. So we check very strongly every night कि जो campaigns चल रहे हैं वो ROS कितना दे रहे हैं, qualified leads कितनी आ रही है, and the third of course the conversions. We track our conversions की conversions कौन से sources से आ रही है ताकि हम campaign को और optimize कर सकें. That's the 3 things.
Okay, thank you so much everyone.